She's in big trouble. Dakota Ditcheva put it.
Stop scrolling. Joe Rogan, the most powerful voice in MMA, is under fire for how he spoke about one of the most dangerous women in the sport. Not for trash talk, not for criticism, but for calling a reigning world champion really pretty. Now the MMA world is completely split, with fans and fighters arguing over whether it was harmless praise or a line that should never be crossed.
You seen that really pretty girl that fights in the PFL? What's her name? Dakota Ditcheva. She's from England, but she is like most of her fights win by knockout. She's this Muay Thai specialist, but she's pretty. It sounds awesome. These girls. That's it. These girls.
Joe Rogan was on his podcast with Shane Gillis discussing PFL's undefeated star, Dakota Ditcheva, and this is how he introduced her. Have you seen that really pretty girl who fights in the PFL? He went on to say she's slim, slender, pretty, and has a nice body, before adding that she just F***s these girls up. Joe did praise her Muay Thai, her body knees, and her knockouts, but he kept circling back to one thing, her looks. To some fans, this was classic Joe Rogan, unfiltered, blunt, and complimentary. To others, it clearly crossed a line.
Going by TK or KO, I will tell you the confidence that she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable. And there it is.
Beautiful knee from the plum.
And Bishop taking Jenna Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack.
In trouble. And that does it. First round finish, and Dakota Ditcheva silences.
Because Dakota Ditcheva isn't an Instagram model who happens to fight. She's a 15-0 undefeated PFL women's flyweight champion and one of the most violent finishers in women's MMA. Critics argued that Rogan reduced a world champion to a visual novelty. The clip was reposted by PFL's official Instagram, and that's when former UFC fighter Bec Rawlings stepped in, commenting sarcastically, "Have you seen that really hot guy? He fights guys, and he's really F***ing hot." Sharp, direct, and intentional, her point was clear. Male fighters are praised for skill first, while female fighters are still judged by appearance. That comment exploded online. What makes this even more interesting is that Dakota herself has already addressed this issue, saying in a June 2024 interview, one of the first things people say is, "You don't look like a fighter." She explained that people expect fighters to look rough, and because she doesn't, they're shocked, not impressed, not educated, just surprised. The controversy hits even harder because Dakota isn't active right now. She withdrew from her February 7th fight in Abu Dhabi due to injury, and in her last bout in July she broke her left hand. Still won, still dominated. Yet while she's sidelined, the conversation around her has shifted from violence to visuals.
Seen that really pretty girl that fights in the PFL? What's her name? Dakota Ditcheva. She's from England, but she is like most of her fights win by knockout. She's this Muay Thai specialist, but she's pretty. It sounds awesome. That's it.
So here's the real question. Was Joe Rogan complimenting a fighter or unintentionally reinforcing a stereotype? Because Dakota Ditcheva doesn't win fights because she's pretty. She wins because she walks opponents down, breaks their bodies, and finishes them violently. And whether Joe meant harm or not, the reaction proved one thing. Women's MMA is still fighting two battles at once, one inside the cage and one outside of it. But then Joe Rogan dropped a completely different kind of bombshell about Dakota Ditcheva. Once Rogan says your name on his podcast, you're no longer just prospect hype, you're dangerous cannon. While reacting to fight footage on the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan watched Dakota's undefeated, silent, surgical dominance and used one word that shook MMA fans: nasty. Not overrated. Not promising. Not future talent. Nasty. And when Joe Rogan calls you nasty, that's not hype, that's a warning.
Have you seen that really pretty girl that fights in the PFL? What's her name? Dakota Ditcheva. She's from England, but she is like most of her fights win by knockout. She's this Muay Thai specialist, but she's pretty. It sounds awesome. Okay.
Joe Rogan didn't praise Dakota Ditcheva because she's popular. He praised her because she breaks expectations. Rogan said that people look at Dakota and think she's slim, she's pretty, she looks like a CrossFitter, and that's when they make their last mistake, because, as he put it, she just F***s these girls up. No dancing around it, no PR filter, just reality. Dakota doesn't overwhelm opponents with chaos, she doesn't brawl, she dismantles them.
Right elbow. She's in big trouble. Dakota Ditcheva to the body again for a championship. Come here.
This is the most dangerous part of Dakota Ditcheva's rise. Opponents don't fear her at first. They think she's technical, clean, not violent. And then the knees land, the timing lands, and the body shuts down. Joe Rogan pointed this out perfectly. Dakota doesn't look dangerous until you're gasping for air with your hands glued to your ribs. This isn't flashy violence. This is professional damage. And let's be clear, Joe Rogan doesn't praise fighters easily, especially not women's fighters, and especially not fighters outside the UFC. He's watched champions, legends, and generational killers, so when he pauses mid-podcast, stops joking, and locks in on a highlight, that's recognition. This wasn't a throwaway comment. This was Rogan mentally filing Dakota Ditcheva under problem.
Seen that really pretty girl that fights in the PFL. What's her name? Dakota Ditcheva. She's from England, but she is like most of her fights win by knockout. She's this Muay Thai specialist, but she's pretty. It sounds awesome. Fuck these girls up. These girls up.
Sprinkle by TKO or KO. I will tell you the confidence that she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable. And there it is.
Beautiful knee from the plum. And Michigan seconds Jenna Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack. Bishop in trouble. And that does it. First round finish at Dakota Ditcheva silence.
The moment Joe Rogan says your name, fans start asking the forbidden question. What happens if she goes to the UFC? And that's where things get uncomfortable. Dakota Ditcheva is 15-0, elite in Muay Thai, in her prime, and finishing everyone in front of her. Yes, she just re-signed with the PFL, but contracts expire, hype travels, and Rogan's voice echoed in the ears of every UFC executive who heard that clip. Dakota didn't scream or brag, she simply acknowledged it, saying she was happy, honored, and motivated, and that's terrifying, because when killers stay calm after validation, they don't slow down, they accelerate. Joe Rogan didn't crown Dakota Ditcheva a star. He did something worse. He exposed her. Now everyone knows she's not just technical, not just pretty, not just undefeated, she's violent by design. And once the MMA world sees you that way, there's no hiding. PFL made the right move, but the UFC needs her, because when Joe Rogan calls you nasty, the clock starts ticking.